We're very proud to be sitting down with the Minister of Water and Sanitation, talking about the current water status in South Africa and also what you can do to help, seeing that we are experiencing an incredible drought.
The Water and Sanitation Department is responsible for providing clean, safe drinking water as well as treating sewage and wastewater. Now, with the current water shortage we have in our country, awareness around the use of water is something that we all need to consider and consider very deeply. Now, this morning we are talking to the Minister of Water and Sanitation, Nomvula Makunyane, about how the current situation affects more than just our water usage. It is touching us in now a very real way. Minister, thank you so much for joining us. I know this is obviously a very stressful time for you. How dire is the situation? Where do our water reserves sit as we sit here currently?
Morning and morning to your viewers. Naturally, South Africa is a water scarce country. We rely on transboundary sources of water supply throughout the country. And secondly, only 27% of the surface water that we use as a country is being used for domestic consumption. More than 60% goes towards irrigation. The anomaly with us as a nation is that over years, we have ignored the use of groundwater. We never even massified the use of grey water, the recycling of water. We never actually saw the issue of rain harvesting as an important one. Now that the realities of climate change are upon us, because this drought has to do with the realities of climate change, we have never seen a drought of this particular magnitude from as far back as 1921. Sure. We definitely have to start adapting. And what one can indicate is that we're not in the best, given that we now have more than 5 provinces that have been declared drought-stricken areas, disaster areas. It then calls on all of us as a nation to use water wisely, to save water, to recycle water, and to manage water in a responsible way.
I can hear the frustration in your voice as you speak to me. Is this too little, too late? Were we prepared for this? Could we have done anything to address this?
It's not too little, too late. I think with our commitment and understanding as a nation, we can make a difference. It starts with us being able to adapt. We must adapt to the realities of climate change. We must begin to refurbish our boreholes and make sure that we use groundwater. 2, we must also promote the issue of recycling water so that then you don't only use water once. It is only in our situation as a country where many of us, more than 98% of South Africans, don't actually recycle water. Rain harvesting. Yes, people may say, I'm crazy, I'm talking about rain harvesting when there's drought. We must begin to put infrastructure for good rain harvesting so that then when the good rains come, which will be between March and September this year, we must find a way that is going to make sure that we harvest the rainwater in our own houses, in our own public facilities, but we also have better catchment agencies, because part of what is a problem is that most of our water in South Africa end up going back into the sea because of deforestation also that is beginning to take place. And now with the rains going to come very late, you're also going to see floods. And that's the challenges of El Nino, where in one instance you have severe droughts, and then on the other side, you've got extreme floods that actually, okay, what is to be done? We need good men, capable men and women to manage our water. We need to build new infrastructure, refurbish the existing infrastructure, plan for the future. Me and you must begin to use water sparingly, use a glass, a cup to brush your teeth. Don't sing a lot in the shower, get in and get out.
No matter how good you sound.
And what is of importance as well is to appreciate that even with this domestic water, just now recent, in the city of Johannesburg, we picked up that 46% of the domestic water that is supposed to be used for drinking is used for irrigation of our gardens. So we need to change. Yes, government must put in bylaws, but you must police yourself. Because remember, it's for generations to come. Imagine if it could be the last drop.
Now this, I hear exactly what you're saying, and I certainly understand the relevance of it. I think any responsible South African needs to put their hand up, but we know that In our history, if we look at our track record, often we need a push or we need incentive to get us there. Are you pushing businesses through some sort of incentive, even as individual end users? Is there a drive to get people to convert? Are we being incentivized to do this beyond, obviously, the fear of running out of water, which doesn't always take hold until it's actually affecting us?
We have to commend some of our big water users. Secondly, we have to come in with better irrigation systems. We can't forever use the same old practice of irrigation. We have to, as a nation as well, deal with the water leaks, starting in your home up to our own pipelines, as well as illegal water connections. We definitely have to deal with that. The last thing that we need to look at is dealing with the cost of water. We've got a new pricing strategy that we have now put out for public comment, because we must understand that if we have to address inequalities, because now with the drought, people who are much more anxious are the ones who have been having water uninterrupted. And yet we've got almost not more than 15% of the South African population that still drink and share water with animals. So as we deal with the drought, we have to plan and give hope to those that have never actually had access to water. And what we must really commend, again, the issue about South Africans, never mind pushing. We are a peace-loving nation, ordinarily, and solidarity is so key. We have seen with hashtag Operation Hydrate, where ordinary South Africans have come out, supported by Nelson Mandela Foundation, to say every day is Nelson Mandela Day. The Proteas are collecting water now as we speak. We've got a big business that is coming out. Individuals, young kids as young as 8-year-old have collected 15,000 liters of water to distribute. And I think it is that also shows that when there is a crisis in South Africa, we can all come together. And I think adaptation to the realities of climate change requires all of us to adapt.
And it sounds like South Africans are doing that. I know it's been a wake-up call, second to none, but we've covered a lot of those stories. We've covered those incredible people doing more. If you could leave us with one tip for the end user like myself, Graham, sitting at home, what would that be?
It starts with you. Reuse the water that you consume in your household.
Minister, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for taking such a personal involvement in this campaign trail.
Thank you.
It really is appreciated.
Thank you.
The current drought that we are facing in South Africa not only affects us at home, but also adds to the economic pressures that we face on a daily basis. It is, in fact, up to all of us to be aware of the current water situation in our country and do what we can to ensure we have what we need for the future, not just for our future, but our children and our children's children. Do what you can.